I have a brand new guest on today. It's Gary from ARCpoint. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
And explain what kind of business you're involved in here.
Well, ARCpoint's a national franchise, and it's a drug and alcohol testing company. We also do steroid testing, as well as DNA or paternity testing in and around the Des Moines area.
Now, what would you say is your biggest customer right now?
My biggest customer right now are companies that, number one, do pre-employment testing, or within their drug-free policy that they have stated they do a lot of random testing. Something that's big in the Des Moines area too is we have a lot of trucking companies that are DOT mandated to get their DOT mandated drug testing and breath alcohol testing done.
Okay. So a lot of employers you're working with. You know, if somebody is thinking about starting to do pre-employment testing or maybe adding that random drug testing policy, you'd be the people they'd want to talk to.
Correct. And yeah, and actually what we do a lot of, and it's included, I mean, there's no additional cost for it, but we build a lot of policies for people. So if there's a company out there that's been thinking about putting a drug-free work policy into place, that's something that we do. We have the templates for that. We explain to them what they need to have written in there. In the state of Iowa, it has to be posted for an employer for 30 days before they can start doing random testing.
Okay.
But as far as somebody that wants to do pre-employment for people that are coming into the company, you can start from day one. Anybody that wants to put a random program together that needs, for their existing employees, that needs to be posted for at least 30 days.
So you can't just say to an employee that you're suspicious about, I need you to go to ARCpoint for drug testing. You have to make sure that you have that in your policy. Correct.
And a lot of companies, what I find is a lot of companies have a policy, but they're not aware of how it's written or what's in it. So the first thing that I do when I'm talking to a company is that I want to see their existing policy, see how it reads, see what it's stated in there, and see what types of drugs they're going to be tested for.
Okay. You work a lot, like you said, with DOT.
We do.
And how does that differ then from just a regular company?
Well, the people that are in a consortium with the DOT, those people are mandated. And a lot of the trucking companies, they're mandated by the Department of Transportation that 50% of their employees need to be tested annually. Okay. So, you know, from a company standpoint, I'm a third-party administrator when it comes to something like that. I keep track of the number of people that get their test done in a 12-month period. And they also have to have 10% of their employees breath alcohol test or alcohol tested. So we keep track of all of that, make sure they're in compliance with the Department of Transportation. If the Department of Transportation decides to come out and do an audit, we have to make sure all the paperwork's up to date. We have the results for all their drivers and employees. So
there's a whole lot more to this work than I would have ever imagined.
There is, and that's really the DOT, you know, the Department of Transportation. They're trying to make it safe for people out on the highways.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you have these trucks, tractors, and trailers out there, they want to make sure those people that are the people that are operating those are safe and not on drugs or alcohol.
Some of these tests are instant too, not necessarily with the DOT, but you can get a result almost immediately on some of the drug tests.
That's correct. Yeah, with the DOT, you cannot do an instant test. We do have anywhere from 5 to 20 panel tests that we do instantly. Basically, we'll have the results within 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if in the case of a positive test, of course, that would need to go out to a lab to get confirmed. But we'll have the instant test available and ready for results as long as it's not positive for the consumer right there. We do a lot of judicial testing from, say it's court mandated or attorneys, or they're in a child custody case or something like that. We also do a lot of that testing as well.
Well, you said that you also did hair follicle testing, paternity tests. Where can they find out more information?
We have a website, a good place to go, and there's a plethora of information on there. It's www.arcpointlabs.com/Des Moines. And there's 2 days worth of information to go through on there. I mean, I have a local phone number. We have a lab that's located out in Urbandale, which is just off of Meredith and Merle Hay.
Gary, thank you so much for coming in.
You bet. Thank you very much.